Welcome, and hello. A return to live Total Spotfest. Jamie's over there. JJ's right here. We are out. We are Austin-less this week here. From the
we still love him.
We do still love him, but little birdies tell us that one Miss Heidi Howitzer kidnapped Austin Reddick to take him to an illicit dealing. They're going to a concert of some sort. Who knows? But hey, can't fault him for that. We're going to see him live next week, Jamie. So it's all
we
good.
are. We might actually broadcast live with all three of us on the same screen.
Spoiler. That's right. So next week, and we're going to talk about this later on. Winter is coming to the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. We literally an hour ago, I'm not even over-exaggerating as we're broadcasting this at 9:44 p.m. on Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. An hour ago, finalize our tickets for our suite at the T-Mobile Center. And Jamie, in our group chat, I put out there just the Jean-Luc Picard face palm, and I got no response, but it was the perfect response.
I hate the T-Mobile Center dealing with their sales team so much. Like the Cable Dom Arena was so much easier to work with, so much nicer. Plus, I know people there, so that also helps.
That does help.
But it's just do better, T-Mobile Center. But hey, we're good. We get to go see Winter is Coming, and the card for Winter's Coming is Dynamite.
Now you have said
I had
Nice. You had said before, that should be my line, but whatever. You had said before that for some reason AEW always puts out for Kansas City shows, and we did like a synopsis of what they did, and they have. I don't know what it is, but every show they've done in Kansas City has been a freaking banger. Starting with the the Pac Kenny Omega Iron Man match all the way up through next week. It's just like, I don't know if Tony Khan just loves barbecue that much. I want to think it's because of us, because he listens to the show. That's my theory.
He has admitted that he listens to our show. Definitely. He is one of our subscribers. Tony Khan.
Yeah, look it up.
Tony Khan.
And if you want to join Tony Khan, please hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the thumbs up. Give us a like. It helps us out quite a bit. But we do want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining in on us. I got our spot. It's the end of year times. Right, so I got Spotify Wrapped today, so I was checking out my Spotify Wrapped, and Spotify is who we publish our audio podcast through. So I was like, oh, I got this as well. So I checked out our end of the year Spotify Wrapped, and good growth over there. So we definitely want to give a big shout out to everybody that is indeed listening and subscribing over on Spotify. Thank you guys. I know that we're doing this live every week, and we do a lot of live sort of things, but it's great to hear
Virtual
you guys.
thumbs up.
Virtual thumbs up for you. If you're listening to us, we have the thumbs up. Trust us. Okay.
Yes.
And yet,
but hold on. You know what we don't have a thumbs up about? And I think this is how we're going to start our show, gentlemen. Or just you, I guess. It's
really cranky Avengers. Okay, we're going to get to that later, Heather, but that's a fantastic line right there.
Heather, first off, I love you, Heather. I've been thinking about you a lot lately.
This is why she's our mod, 100%.
But I will say this. I love wrestling. JJ, you love wrestling, right?
I love me some wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been to, collectively between the two of close to 100 shows.
Yeah.
Okay. Austin doesn't count because he's a wrestler. Okay.
He's not here to defend himself either. So there.
But we love wrestling. We've went to Raw together. We've went to SmackDown together. We've went to GCW together. Of course, we went to Journey Pro. We've went, GCW, Glory Pro.
We've gone to
Wrestling
Iowa,
Revolver,
Chicago.
Yeah, like we've went everywhere.
We're talking about Texas maybe next year.
So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. When anybody tries to disparage wrestling, it really gets under my skin. And I couldn't help but have a verbal today.
But start over again. Your mic's doing weird things. I think you need a new cable. You need a new cable or something.
I probably do need a new cable.
All right, you're good now. Go.
I hit it though too, because
that's why I was like, oh, you did something. Something's going on. That's why I think it's a new cable. Yeah.
So I have to have a verbal response here, and I know you will too.
Ooh.
Fuck Eric Bischoff. That's how I'm gonna start this. And hopefully everybody who's on here agrees. It is okay to enjoy all wrestling. We love AEW because it's different from WWE. Not to say we don't love WWE, because they've gotten a lot better. We did have a time where we absolutely hated the end of the Vince era, right?
Ooh,
but the Triple H era and the Shawn Michaels era have been actually very entertaining to watch. Some of this stuff's just getting a little long on the tooth, but that's fine. That's with everybody, though. That's just me being a critical wrestling fan. But at the end of the day, I still love wrestling. I love what TNA is doing right now. I love definitely what GCW is doing right now with Effie and Allie Catch and Mance. That whole dynamic is superb. Lucha Libres and Laughs is one of the funniest things ever. New Japan's stronger than ever when they've lost 90% of their big stars. I bet they just found ways just to cultivate and develop brand new stars over there. Noah's doing good.
TNA still kicking it? I mean, shit.
Who gives a shit that you think, for one, failed booker yourself, dick face, that you know better and they're dying because they don't have you? I understand that you're looking for a job. I understand, Eric Bischoff, that you want to get back into wrestling, and this is your vessel in order to get back into wrestling. Hence why we saw you on NXT magically. But anyway, wrestling is so much more than you, Eric Bischoff. And I want you to hear that because you are not it anymore, dude. Like, you're not even close to it anymore. I'm not it. JJ, you're not it. We're not it. Wrestling is it. There's different flavors, different strokes for different folks, man. Just love wrestling and, I don't know, support it all. Because at the end of the day, who wins? The fans do. But you are trying to make that divide, just like the United States it is today, where there's this big divide between one side of the fence and the other, and you're doing the same thing with wrestling. And shame on you. You should be better than that. And I'm going to end with fuck Eric Bischoff.
Fuck, the most ironically infuriating part is that Eric Bischoff is a seminal figure in the greater history of all wrestling, right? That's both a factual statement and the fucking problem, okay? Because he is like, and everybody's worked with a guy like this. Everybody's gone to a school with a person, not just a guy, with a person like this. Everyone's gone to a school with a person like this. You might have a person like this in your family. I bet at least half of you listening do. Let's be real, okay? Somebody who the world has to revolve around them or it doesn't exist sort of person, right? And he tries to attach his claws wherever it is to be relevant because he thinks the world revolves around him, right? So he did this at AEW at the beginning because when he came in and what was that during the Jacksonville days? He like MC'd some bullshit. I don't remember. Some Jericho, who I don't fucking remember. And then immediately turned into I'm gonna shit over AEW for the next millennia, right? And then what's one of the hottest things in wrestling right now? Something that we have adamantly said has been a full 180, and we really enjoy it is the NXT. NXT is really freaking good right now. Their women's division is by far the best women's division in wrestling. Period. End of sentence. Fight me. Okay, let's go. What they're doing, Ethan Page, that made, took a guy who we love as a person, right? Made him a star, more than he was in TNA, right? The elevation of Trick and all these people, right? Everything. NXT's doing wonderful things. So, of course, here comes Eric Bischoff sucking his teeth into it, trying to be relevant. And it's so blatantly obvious, it's almost embarrassing. But I just, I do like the fact that the internet wrestling discourse was a lot of people basically saying the same thing we're saying. It's like, hey, we just love wrestling. Fuck this, right?
I mean, Dustin Rhodes went out there. It's like, just love wrestling. Just enjoy wrestling.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, you had other people. Of course, you had the WWE sycophants that just want to suckle at the WWE teat, and that's it.
Going to have those, yeah, absolutely.
Which... That's why Blue Sky is superior, because you don't have the toxicity. But, it's okay to have your fave, man. It's totally okay to have your favorite.
Yeah.
We prefer AEW. That's why we do our show right now. We do our show right after Dynamite for a reason, because we love AEW. Because there's great fucking wrestling that happens
really good wrestling
every Wednesday without fail. You might have a dud match here and there, but typically the matches are amazing, and that's what we're into. We're into matches. We're not into complicated storylines and stuff like that, even though they have a few right now. But that's not the crux. It's not 90% story, 10% action. We are a 60-40 split on action to story, and that's
just
that's
because something's different doesn't mean it's doomed to fail. I mean, Jamie and I both work in the automotive industry. We don't build cars, but Jamie works. I work for a car dealership. Jamie works on the software side, right? We both worked on both sides of this fence for a while, right? Ford and Chevy both exist for a reason, and there's nothing wrong with a Ford or a Chevy. Honda and Toyota. There's nothing wrong with, different strokes for different folks. Wrestling is pretty much the same thing, right? If you like your WWE, cool, right? You don't like AEW? That's fine. You like your AEW? You don't care for this? That's fine too, right? It doesn't mean that the other one's going to fail because they're not on your team. So just relax.
Yes. Victor, what surprise you waiting for? Is it something that we were supposed to
For
do?
us, or are you talking about like for like the Eric Bischoff surprise? Because spoiler alert, that's never going to come.
Yeah. Maybe he's in the Diddy scandal. Maybe that's a surprise. You know, I mean, typically the people who have the most fire, you know, project out. And I think that's what he's doing. I think he's just projecting. And, you know, therapy is a great thing, man. I support it.
Yeah, no
It's
doubt.
helped me through a lot. That's all I'm saying.
Well, when you can't get therapy, what you can get is the return of William Regal saying your 2 favorite words this time of year.
Yes. War games!
I love his little tweet. I flew to Vancouver for one reason and one reason alone. It's because it's war games. And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Oh.
How
about war games?
War games, man. It was all right. That's all I'm gonna say.
It felt like lather, rinse, repeat. A lot of it. I mean, you know, the men's match. Like I said, we pontificated about that well before they even booked it because
I mean, the return of Paul Heyman and having CM Punk in tow. I thought that was a very nice touch, and how they did it. How that was done was very, very well done. That was very much a Paul Heyman move, and it was perfect. Now, that whole dynamic between Roman Reigns and CM Punk was just glorious. I loved that whole dynamic that they had where he wasn't going to let him out, like CM Punk out, and he let Sammy out, and then he was getting ready to go. Then CM Punk just bulldozes his way out, which I thought was a nice touch to set up a future feud on Netflix. You know, but the men's was okay. The men's was honestly, it was okay. I
love the match itself. Match itself, other than some of those dramatics, match itself was kind of mid. To be frank.
Big shock on who I thought was the best in that match, though.
Well,
it's not really. It's Jacob Fatu, because that dude is phenomenal. And he's going to be a megastar. That's all I gotta say.
Yes, and he needs
that
to be
guy.
He needs to be leading that side of the fam. Yeah, I know, Jamie. Yes,
I can't say enough. But the women's match was by far and away the better one.
Oh yeah. Well, Heather to her point.
Yeah, like
Heather
hit it. Yeah.
And we know it's coming every year. It's scripted. It's coming. We know it's coming. It's still fantastic every time.
But anytime I get EO in a cage, I just get really excited.
I just love that EO's getting her flowers. I was if you flashback, you remember how skeptical I was? I was angry, for those of you if you don't remember. I was visibly angry that they changed her name, right? You know?
EO Sky from EO.
I couldn't stand, because she's one of my favorite wrestlers for a long time, right? Yeah. And I'm just so glad they're giving her some rope to, some leeway to kind of be about this, right? She got a title run. She's, I'm just glad I'm glad that they haven't done what they did. I know it's the Vince era, right? But the Japanese women aren't just being, like so tight cast, and she's given room to grow. So I love that. And I just swoon over the future EO Julia match, which we're going to get one day.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Japanese, Shinsuke Nakamura made his official return and won in a squash match.
Dark Shinsuke,
legit
man.
Squash
yeah.
Match.
And
love he's the new U.S. champion, which I'm like, that's amazing. Way to put him over. And now you can move LA Knight into something different.
Right. LA Knight's the type of guy who he doesn't need a title, the amount of over that he is, right? He's like Mr. Perfect-ish, right? You can move him around. He doesn't need a title.
He's more over than Mr. Perfect ever thought about.
Well, he is, but you know what I'm saying. You can move him into places, and he doesn't need a title belt to go with him.
You want a hot take?
Sure.
Mr. Perfect was mid. Not his wrestling prowess, but him as a personality was very mid.
Well, that's why he's with Bobby most of his career, because he couldn't talk on the mic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Just saying.
All right. So Survivor Series, War Games. It was good. It was fine. I mean, I said they did some good stuff. Some stuff was predictable, but I'm with Austin. I want to see them. I'd like to see them divorce War Games for at least like a year, right? You know,
go do a traditional Survivor Series match, like what it's named. It's called
Right.
Survivor Series for a reason. You
Yeah.
know, give us one.
Yeah, and cool off War Games a little bit, so when you bring it back, like in 2 years, or if you want to bring it some other time, right, is its own special independent thing, which wouldn't be a bad idea either, right? It's going to be even more memorable. It's just like the annuality of it is. It's one of those that as much as I love that match so much, I don't want to have it on my calendar every year. You know, as I know when it's coming up. You know, because I don't know. That's just me.
Which is funny because WCW did that.
I know they did, but it didn't. Maybe it's just my age at the time. You know, time moves different when you're older. I guess I don't know.
Maybe it's just because you're old and cranky now, and you just want to be a certain way. You know, it's fine.
Yeah, it's probably what it was. And I was young and dumb, and I didn't care, and it was fine. But yeah, okay.
Young and dumb and full of rum.
I did love me some rum, man. I could pound some Captain Morgans.
Dude, have you ever had the Kraken?
Bad. Hell yeah, I've had the Kraken.
Oh, dude, I love that spice rum.
Yeah, Kraken's real good. Like I like Myers. I really like, and I haven't drank because I try to stay away from sugar. So and rum is like literally made from sugar, right? But I was real big on Appleton out of Jamaica. Ooh, well, I love me some Appleton Estates, man. Oh, okay. Let's abscond from the rum barrel and go directly into the barrel of fun that we were presented in Fishers, Indiana this past eve. I had no idea where Fishers was.
It's right outside Indianapolis.
Right outside Indianapolis.
In the shadows of Indianapolis, according to Excalibur, which I thought was a great saying. This definitely had go home vibes. It was very heavy on the storytelling, which everybody says they don't do. Case in point, earlier our rants. But the wrestling was definitely there. The opener and the closer were ridiculous. That's all I gotta say. The opener and closer were just insane.
So good, and then in the middle you had a gem as well, sprinkled in there with some other little stuff. Last year, the juxtaposition is actually pretty interesting because last year in the Continental Classic, I know it was Austin's wet dream, because it was just like wrestling, go, 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 and now they're spreading it out amongst 3 shows, so you don't get as much of that, but they're building up. I mean, you're right. It feels like they're building every week to be a big deal going into World's End, which is just after Christmas.
Yeah. Everything's going to World's End, which they had a couple things that were very telegraphed. Like as soon as I saw what was going on, I know what's happening here. But let's go ahead and talk about the opener.
Okay.
So it's Kyle Fletcher and Shelton Benjamin with Don Callis on commentary, which made it 10 times better.
Which he wasn't there at the ringside. He was there as an official commentative role.
Yes, official commentator. And he did a fabulous job of putting over Shelton Benjamin. Like he was just all about Shelton Benjamin, like how great he was. But he says the big difference between Shelton Benjamin and Kyle Fletcher is Kyle Fletcher's the future, and Kyle Fletcher has me. It's like, bro.
I do want to say this because it's kind of a continuation on what you said about Kyle Fletcher at Full Gear. Which, by the way, thank you for everybody who watched our pre-taped Full Gear. We totally forgot that Thanksgiving thing was happening last week, and we had all those things, even though we just talked about them. And so, thank you on that. But you talked about his entrance, S tier, and they're continuing it on. I think I figured out the one thing I don't like about it, and the one thing that I think they should address at some point is while I love me some metal, and I love some big, loud, screamy, Cookie Monster sounding death metal stuff, right? It's not good for an entrance for a top guy. You talk about Will Ospreay's music, about how it's like the best entrance music in all of AEW, right?
Period.
All of wrestling, right?
fight me
And
right now. That is the best right now.
It goes hard. It's catchy.
Actually,
You can.
Usos is really good too.
It's not. It is, but it goes hard. It's catchy, and you can sing along with it. Whereas Kyle's is just a lot of loud noise, and there's a lot of guys in AEW that have a very similar sound to their entrance music. Which again, musically, I dig. I'm cool. That's what I listen to when I fucking roll in and out of work. But if you're gonna make him a top guy, I just want to throw that out there. That is like, I think that.
See, I disagree because it's so much different than the typical top guy music, and it does separate him from everybody else. And you also got to remember, CM Punk, when he first came, he had Avenged Sevenfold as his, and it was fairly hard.
Well, he had AFI first.
Well, that I'm talking about WWE.
You talking about first,
Yeah. So like top guys get.
I have
hard
a soft
music
spot for
sometimes.
A7X personally, so that's me. Okay, I hear you there. That is.
I'm just saying, I like everything about it. The one thing I am starting to notice though more and more is he needs to grow his hair out fast or something, because right now he just looks like baby Randy Orton now. And if anybody can tell me that I'm crazy, please do, because I feel like he looks exactly like a clone, down to the tan. Like it's like, hey, this is Randy Orton. He's gonna do an RKO.
Dan Simmons' theme was fucking fire, Heather. You're not wrong. You are not wrong there.
Okay, well, we're talking right now.
Okay, we are talking right now. Anyway, I didn't mean to totally derail us.
We might have to do a Mount Rushmore of themes before too long. Well, we did. But we didn't have Stone Cold's on there because that's just not fair.
Yeah, you see, it was the forbidden theme. We couldn't put Stone Cold on there for the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I still remember that.
So, but
I don't remember which episode that was, but go back and find it.
It was like 3-4 weeks ago, something like that. All right, match. The match itself, though, bruh.
That was fire.
It wasn't just, I mean, it was actually a well done wrestling match, period. Right? The pacing, the kind of the slow start in and out, right? The cat and mouse games, right? Shelton Benjamin is a consummate professional. Everything about this was wonderful, start to finish.
I love the finish on this because you had a heel out heel a heel. And I appreciated that, but then I started getting a little sour after the main because I'm like, wait, didn't I just see this in the Continental Classic? Like, didn't I just see this? I felt like I just saw this.
Well, but therein lies the crux of the Continental Classic. You have faces going against each other. You're going to have heels going against each other. It's just kind of, it's a thing.
Well, no, like the ways that they won. Like both of them cheated to win. It's like
yes, but they cheated.
Come on, man!
Differently.
Like, you had one cheat. You have to have one win clean. Because especially since Brody legit beat the shit out of Darby clean.
Yeah.
And then now you're like, nah, we're gonna get hit in the junk.
I mean, personally,
spoiler alert. I go right there.
Everybody should have already watched it, but yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It was two different ways to cheat, right? You had the rope leverage and you had a low blow, which led into a finish, right? So they were a little bit different, and for me, I'm fine with that, And again, you have heel versus heel, even though the House of Black's this weird non-heel, not really face-ish thing.
Yeah, they're tweeners.
So, whatever. It didn't bother me.
I get what you're saying. It bothered me because it's two Continental Classic matches that both ended with cheating. Yeah. That's the thing that got me. It's like, okay. Now, if there was like another match in here that was a part of the Continental Classic that was clean, and that was the only other match of it, it's like, fine. You have one that goes clean, you have one that goes dirty. Okay. Like, you can't just have both go dirty. Like, I just feel like that's shitty. I feel like that's just weak.
I mean,
but that's just. I still enjoy them. Like, I'm not gonna say I hated them and they're let's like fire Tony Khan or anything.
Let's stay on Shelton and Fletcher. I mean, because the importance of it being a dirty finish is because you don't want it to look bad upon Shelton, right? And even though there was that promo a little later on where our MVP was berating him, for losing, which Who didn't see that coming, right? There's going to be like that little seed. Hopefully they don't fall through with it but they're putting that seed out there. But
they weren't breaking them up. He was like, I love you, but I'm disappointed in you. So then they started beating the shit out of other people's to let it out.
Right. But but at least it's like they're not going to break him up. No. But you always want to have that little bit there because he's a secondary guy. So he's the Pimp Cane is the best part about MVP. I'm not going to lie. The Pimp
Cane for MVP is literally the MVP thing that he has. But yeah, so obviously that's how that one ended, and we already kind of talked about the main. The main was Claudio versus Brody, so might as well just get the end caps out of the way.
Which one did you like more?
I think we both know I'm very much of a technical wrestler fan, and both of them were equally technical. So it came down to which one did I feel was more believable.
Okay.
And honestly, like I hate to say it, Claudio and Brody was just a thing of beauty.
Good call.
That was it was so tough to pick between those two, but honestly, like there's another match that was better than both of them. But I'm sorry, I'm just gonna call it now. But no, this one was excellent as well. The low blow, which was the old Flair low blow, which made me just pop a little bit.
Yeah.
Into the brutalizer or whatever he calls it. I forgot what he calls his
neutralizer,
whatever. This is a Terminator. If you get a piece of it, you can name whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah.
I liked big meaty men bumping meat. I'm a big Brody King fan as it is, right? Nothing against the Kyle and Shelton. I loved it, but I just that main was so great. Brody's so over with that crowd, right? And Claudio's such a freak of nature that sometimes it takes somebody to be like a bigger man to really kind of showcase that, right? Because it didn't feel at any point in time like Claudio was ever going to be outmanned by him, even though Brody King usually does that to everybody he's in, and it takes something for him to get brought to the level of. There was never that feeling, and it was the perfect matchup. Those two, the perfect matchup. And again, nothing against Shelton and Fletcher. That's kind of a really perfect matchup too, right? I just love the big men just going fucking ham on each other. It was so good. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it was delightful. Probably the best way to put it. All right, so after that, let's just keep kind of jumping back around. You did have a Hook moment. And I'm done talking about it.
But it did lead to a Christian and the patriarchy moment. So there's that.
Yeah. So that was the positive. You got to see a concerto on Hook's arm, hopefully writing him off of TV forever. And then you had a Christian Cage.
He's gonna fight Nick Wayne. Hello, one of the Nicks. He's gonna fight Nick Wayne in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Yeah. So, yeah. Hook.
You did after that. Like I don't even want to talk about it. If you want to talk about it, you're
we're moving. Move. Okay. Let's just truck the fuck along. Let's go.
Yeah, because that just no. You did have a little Mercedes Moné segment where she talked about Camille getting attacked and how she quit on me, so I'm not responsible for her. I'm not liable for her anymore. Blah blah blah. But I'm going to pay attention to Anna Jay and Penelope later tonight. And I was like, okay, well, clearly that's what they're setting up. They're setting up Mercedes and Anna Jay, because Anna Jay got a pretty big win just recently. So
I mean, and for their worth, what do you think they're doing? What do you think about what they've been doing with Mercedes? I think she's been coming more into her own as a top heel. She's not there yet, but I think she's been coming. She's getting along that road pretty well.
So if you're a listener of the show, longtime listener, we've been very critical of Mercedes when she first came in, because we're like,
just a little.
She just doesn't work as a face for me right now, and she has gotten so much better at her heel persona in AEW because it's not Sasha Banks. I think that's the big thing. We're all expecting Sasha Banks. And it took me a little bit to get that out of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I've done that, I feel a lot more connected to what she's trying to accomplish now. And I really am digging Mercedes Moné now. But I had to get out of the mindset of that Sasha Banks.
Right. I guess she was off long enough, and so things were a misstep. Things happen. Whatever. I'm just very happy with the kind of the way they're going, right? And whether you like it or not, right? The whole split thing with Camille is good for Mercedes. We'll see if it's good for Camille or not, right? I think that you and I and everybody on the side knows that it's probably going to be Camille is going to be the person who's going to take that belt off her, whether it's warranted or not.
Yeah.
Which
I like, because I like Camille. So
depending on how they kind of write that story back with her into it in a redemption arc, I think it could be good, right? I think it's good for Sasha to get the belt off her for too much longer for reasons you talked about in the last couple of weeks. So I thought it was good. I thought Mercedes on tonight's show was actually very well. The 2 times that we saw her was very good. I think her character is progressing in the way that we want to see it.
Yeah, so why don't we just go ahead and jump right into the women's match because it just ties in nicely with this. So you had Penelope versus Anna Jay, and honestly, the beginning was a struggle for me. I was finding it very difficult to enjoy the beginning because it felt very discombobulated and not thought out. But then those 2 ladies brought it home at the end, and it became a very enjoyable match at the end. I'm very, very pleased with how it ended. I enjoyed the match overall because of how strong the finish was. And Penelope looked great. And honestly, Anna Jay, ever since she went to Japan and came back, has looked a ton better. She's still a little green, but she is better.
Well, yes, she is. She's leaps and bounds better. I think that the one thing missing from Anna Jay is a character direction. Okay, we know what she's doing. She's targeting. She's shooting for Mercedes. She wants to do this. Cool, right? But she's this weird kind of package of the original, magician's assistant, post Japan. Let's give her
Zantana, dude. She's Zantana or Zantara, whatever.
Right, but not
DC
really.
Guy, whatever.
Don't half-ass 2 things, whole-ass 1 thing. Just go all in on. I feel like Anna Jay has all the tools there, and she does just like with tonight. Like maybe it started off a little slow, but once they got into it, it was good, right? Her match with Deanna on the buy-in was really good as well, right? I thought that was very good,
really good.
And her matches with Mariah have been pretty solid. One of them was excellent, I would say. I would go that far,
Like a collision match.
Yes, it was excellent. I thought that, and I'll use that word with an Anna Jay match. Fight me, let's go.
That's the second time we've used it. The other time was the Rampage lights out match.
Oh yeah,
which
we got a little video package of, which I was so happy to see because that match. Oh god, I love that match so good. And that's my whole thing. It's like at least when Anna Jay was with the Dark Order, she was was consistent packaging, right? When we didn't like it, but the whole Jericho Appreciation Society, I'm gonna choke everybody out. Okay, now it's like. I think that they just need to abandon everything that she's done before, right? And yes, I know that gives you kind of a generic white woman coming out here to fight sort of thing, but I think it'd do better for her than trying to repackage any of the old magician stuff. I don't know. I just feel like if you got her packaging right and you kind of got her character a little bit more fine-tuned in that, and that's going to come in time. I know. Austin would say, hey, these things don't happen overnight. I get it, right? But I think that's the only thing missing from Anna Jay because her wrestling, to your point, ever since like I said when she got back from Japan, both of us were like, this is the Anna Jay that we thought we were going to get 2 years ago. So
yeah. Very, very excited about her future. And honestly, after that, you had Mercedes come out, said that, she's got to wait 10 years until she's accomplished something, which I thought was great. And then Anna Jay's like, what, like this? And just slapped her really hard. And then they were getting ready to throw down. And then Mercedes like, I gotta check my watch. I gotta go. I got this thing. It's like, girl, like I love that. It's like that is great heel shit right
Such
there.
an old school thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
very, very, very pleased with that one.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. We don't get that next week, but in 2 weeks,
but we get a pretty damn good match.
You want to talk about the promo for that match? Like, let's stay on the women. Let's stay on the women for a second, man.
Yes, let's stay on the women. So our favorite Renee was interviewing Mariah, and
was attempting to interview Mariah.
Attempting, yeah. And then Mariah just instantly got into her, which I thought was absolutely. She's like, I don't have time for this. Like, oh, dude, you don't have time for this? And then it's like she just went off on this whole thing. Like, dude, I'm giving her an opportunity. We're gonna drink champagne and blah blah blah.
How about the sell that Renee did in that fucking promo? Oh my god, so good. Well, we know that
Renee's been really good lately, especially with that. So that happened, and then I loved the call out of Thunder Rosa.
Just gonna ask you about that because you brought that up 2 weeks ago. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, like the sign that says what women's wrestling is not dead, and she's like, it is dead. I've killed it. And I was like, oh dude, that's so great. The level of heel that Mariah is at right now. Would you consider her like men or women? Top heel level? Like at the top three?
I think it's unfair. I think you have to.
I think Mox is like the guy right now.
Well, I think you have to. And I think, here, I think you, and the reason I say I think you have to is because so many others do like the House of Black do that kind of toe the line thing, right? Yeah. Yes, Mox and the Death Riders are their own sort of thing, right? But
they get cheered though.
They get cheered. Well, how about the Hurt Syndicate, right?
They get cheered.
We hurt people. I mean, that's a catchy cheer, but people like to see them, right? So it's so different anymore, but she just cuts to the knife with it, right? She's a weird embodiment of like evil Trish Stratus and the Meryl Streep's character from The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah. I can see that.
And that's just great, right? I have nothing else to say. That's how good I like it.
I just love how much she gets under the skin. Like, like she gets like the way she talks and how she talks just gets under your skin a little bit.
That's old. I mean, that's old school. That's old school.
Yeah, like Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
I mean, that's Ric Flair. Ric Flair and Jim Crockett Productions level, man. Oh,
she just says the little things that just knife at you, and it's just like, man, that is like when you sit back and just like appreciate what she's doing, it is a beautiful thing. Beautiful what she's doing.
So we're getting her and Mina next week in front of our eyes in living color in Kansas City. Any chance Mina wins that belt?
No.
Nah.
But we might get a timeless Tony Storm sighting.
Maybe even, who knows? Maybe even a Sting. We're going to be in one of the luxury. We're going to be in one of the suites. Maybe they'll use our suite and we'll get Tony popping in there and like Sting.
Oh, dude, that would be the coolest shit. Like my daughters would die.
Yes, I know they would.
Megan would pop so hard.
Megan,
and then
Audrey would shit her pants.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So after this, let's go ahead and go back into a little bit of wrestling. This is the most obvious thing that ever in the entire world. So yeah, the Dynamite doesn't battle royal, gentlemen. Or I guess it's just you and our listeners at home.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So the top two people advanced. And here, just by hearing the people in it. So the top two will face each other in 2 weeks. And then, next week, sorry. And then the winner of that will face off against MJF for the ring at World's End. So just now knowing the setup, here are your participants. Evil Uno, Dante Martin, Darius Martin, Mark Davis, Action Andretti, Leo Rush, Rocky Romero, The Butcher, Brian Cage, Lance Archer, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole.
Why
so just
bother,
by hearing those names,
why bother with this match at all?
it was the most telegraphed thing that they've done. Like, this was so on the nose, it hurt. Like, so on the nose.
And here is the both sides of the coin for AEW, right? They have pulled out some battle royals and some battle royal-esque matches that are just like, wow, right? That first like double ring battle royal where Brody King did the choke out of Darby Allin for the first time was amazing. It was so good. Unexpected. We had no idea what to expect from that. It was great, right? They started doing those weird gauntlet battle things that, the first time we saw that in Jacksonville when Ospreay won it, even though it was kind of predictable Ospreay would win it, it was such an interesting thing. And every time they've done it, it's usually been pretty solid, right? And then they'll have these where they need an excuse to put the two men together, so they make it. And this is not. And the first Dynamite does in Battle Royal was great, right? Because we had no idea what to expect from it, right? Same
premise.
It was the beginning ascension of MJF, right? But it was so worthless. It was just so worthless that I just couldn't even get behind it. And I love me a battle royal, even if it's stupid and just tchotchke, And I couldn't even get behind this one. It was. Although I did find out that Brian Cage and Lance Archer, that their tag team name is the Murder Machines. So I guess something did come out.
Perfect name for them.
I mean, the Murder Hawk and Brian the Machine. Anyway, whatever.
Yes. Again, on the nose. So in shocking turn of events, Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole were the last two. Shocking. I know everybody did not see that coming. So those two will be facing off against each other in Kansas City.
Just get to the point with this story. I mean, I hate to even be like that because I do love me some Adam Cole. I just get past this story so we can do something with him, please. Yeah. God. Although MJF's promo in response to this was solid. Was really
okay, so MJF was all over it, saying like no one cares. And it's like basically everything that happened, the butterfly effect from you turning on me, these are all the things that have happened.
Yes.
Like Roddy broke his arm. You lost your best friend Kyle because I lost the belt. Now you got Moxley running wild.
He blamed the Death Riders on Adam Cole.
I mean, is he wrong though? Because the belt's off of MJF. So
there was a few steps in there, but he's not totally okay. Yeah, I'll give it.
I mean, the logic is legit.
It's the best MJF logic. It's by far. Yeah, I just love it. It's fantastic.
Like, that's like Steiner math, dude. Like it adds up. It just adds up. But yeah, so that was absolute fire. And the way it sounded, obviously MJF will not be in Kansas City, but I feel like he's gonna have a part in it.
Yeah. It would be nice to see him. Remember, I can't remember who it was he did it for, but he had like he was sipping wine up on like the second level concourse sort of thing, Yeah. It'd be nice if he did that, but he won't be. He'll have like a vignette that'll accompany that. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping we're on one of the sides. I don't even know.
We have no idea where we are exactly. We just know that we have a suite and it's going to be a thing.
Yes. So after that, you had a quick Julia Hart vignette about going after Jamie Hayter, which I loved. I love everything they're doing with Julia Hart right now. It looks like this is something that's probably going to go down on Collision. It's probably going to go down on the Winter is Coming Collision in St. Louis. By the sounds of it, and the graphics for St. Louis have Jamie Hayter on the graphic, feels like this is where it's going to happen.
Okay. And that's a good place for it to happen, right?
100%, because that card is redonkulous.
That card is, I mean, the Collision cards over the next couple of weeks are fucking stupid. He is definitely trying to make Collision work, which I don't know if you caught the little subtle thing that they just threw in there. I think it was before the main, but they kind of just threw it at you that, oh, by the way, starting in January, you'll be able to watch, Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage streaming on Max as well. Like, oh, just throw that out there in a casual, passing. I don't remember that ever being announced, officially.
Not even it wasn't even like a major Tony Khan announcement. Like that is major Tony Khan announcement.
That's the actual major Tony Khan announcement. It was like, no, it's like, so I didn't think that the streaming part was going to happen until like later in the year, but no, January, it's going to be on Max, same time as on TV. So boom, there you go.
Beautiful. That means they'll have a library. That means the library's
not far behind.
All right. So after this, you had a very weird, acclaimed segment of Billy Gunn, Anthony Bowens, and the greatest wrestler alive, Max Caster, and Billy Gunn straight calling out Max Caster because he says MVP is all in your head, man. Like, this is stupid. And then, which I thought was absolutely great because my cat's right there.
Your cat's trying to take down your curtain, I think. Oh no, she's just stretching.
She does whatever. Yeah.
Whatever the hell she wants.
Winning so prizes. Max Caster was like, "Oh, I got this. I'm the greatest, whatever." And then Anthony Bones like, "You're the greatest. Go prove it." And it was legit a super squash match. Swerve absolutely beat the shit out of Max Caster. His rap was even fairly weak. I mean, other than the Hunter Biden stuff, which I thought was kind of funny and on the nose. But saw this coming.
I mean, do you think that he did get murdered? Did you go to the show tonight, Heather? That's not. I mean,
no, she's in Nashville, dude.
But that's not too far of a drive.
Nashville to Indianapolis?
It's like what, 4 hours?
Bro.
Oh, okay. You made it sound earlier like you went to the show. I don't know. I don't know why I thought that. All right. Sorry.
I mean, we're the only crazy ones who'll go to a show for 4 hours and drive back same night.
Yeah. Dude, you wanted to turn around and drive back initially from Denver, and I was like, "Fuck no."
Well, this in the morning,
right? Well, we should have. Yes,
you wanted to say the additional day.
I wanted to have a fucking day. Yes, I wanted to have a let's get the fuck out for a couple days, right? Anyway,
you're sick, so karma.
Yeah. you had to deal with me though, double karma.
Hey. Douchey mustaches.
oh, you're referring to yourself. Okay, I had to look real close there. I was like,
I haven't shaved in a day and a half, and it's already there. Everything else isn't. This is the first thing that comes in, man. Like this is my 5 o'clock shadow.
First and about it. About the last thing.
I get this too. Don't worry. Get my soul patch.
You get the soul patch. You get little wings.
I get a little here, but it's like graying out now, so you can't even tell. It's like
do you think Max Caster is destined for?
Yes.
I mean, that's what all the writing on the wall is, but I mean, he doesn't really fit with the persona right now of the Hurt Syndicate. I know that's kind of the story. You turn him into one of your guys, but.
Yeah,
we know the breakup's coming. It's been a horrible secret, if you even want to call it that. So they're moving it in there. I do like the fact that Swerve just went out there and just straight pimp slapped this man.
Yeah, then he called out
Lashley. 24's not over. We'll get him and Lashley again at Winter's Coming. Cool, good.
No, World's End. And
World's End. I'm sorry. Yes.
Thor's going to get him this time.
Yes. Which means we'll have a road match next year sometime.
Yeah, so before we get to my match of the night, and definitely all the storytelling of the night too, let's just go ahead and talk about Chris Jericho's New York Minute.
Good old Sin City. The Big Easy.
This was gold. I'm sorry. Like, as much as he drives me nuts lately, this is gold. because he's like, yeah, we're gonna be in Sin City and catching us on the Ring of Honor Club at Honor Club. Like you can totally tell it's so fake and canned.
It's so
and he sold
canned.
it so well.
Gotta join us in the Big Easy, and I just see this is
said Sin City Big Easy.
There's another one I missed earlier. I missed one earlier.
This is Chris Jericho with the New York Minute.
I didn't really catch that until he said Sin City. I go, wait, Sin City's in. Oh, I see what he's doing. And then, yeah. First of all,
so good.
Hammerstein Ballroom, AEW, Ring of Honor. Let's go.
The Hammerstein
Ballroom, and they're doing we're not gonna, but they're doing Dynamite that Sunday, so they're doing Dynamite Sunday before Christmas, okay?
Yeah.
But dude, Ring of Honor, Dynamite Collision from the Hammerstein Ballroom. Oh.
That's a bucket list place I want to go to and watch wrestling.
Same. I never got to make it to CBGB's in New York. I gotta go to Hammerstein at some point and watch wrestling in New York.
Watch wrestling at Hammerstein and throw the shirt back at
those are really the two. Yeah, I could buy a shirt. Those are the two New York things because I've never been to the Northeast, and to be honest with you, I want to go just kind of check stuff off my list, but it's never been like real high. People are like, oh God, I love New York, I love Boston, I'm like, well, I wouldn't mind going and saying I've been there. But those are the two things I've always wanted to do in New York, and one of them I can't do. This one, some point in time, wrestling in the Hammerstein. But it's going to be cool to see.
I could see that coming for us. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about what I think was match of the night. And if you feel otherwise, fight me. And that's Jay White versus Pac. This match, top to bottom, hands down, a masterclass of storytelling in the ring.
I mean, you have Jay White, okay,
and you have Pac,
and then you have Pac, who doesn't get the credit he deserves at times for whatever reason. I still don't know why, but
yeah,
I find it hard to believe. But yeah, they've never faced each other. Amazing, because you would have thought by watching this match that these guys had grown up on the indies together almost.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just, God, how good is Pac? Like some of the sells that Pac did, like that sell he did off the DDT where he bent over backwards on top of Jay White, Oh my God, I love Pac, whatever. So much. This match was glorious.
The match was amazing. And then at the end, after a sneaky win by Mr. Jay White, by the way, great win, gets attacked by, of course, the Death Riders, and they're getting ready to take him out. The Moxley started to get involved, and China Shafir got involved. And they're getting ready to go out there, and the cameraman puts down the camera, rips off his mask, and he starts strangling Moxley with cords.
Hangman's coming out, And so
because Hangman's music hit, and it's actually Orange Cassidy strangling Moxley with the cord. So then you ended up with a standoff of the Death Riders and Moxley, Orange, and
Jay White.
No,
it was Hanger, Orange, and Jay White.
What did I say? Moxley? Yeah, Hanger. Sorry,
yeah.
Hanger.
They all do their moves on Moxley one at a time, and then they all abscond up the ramp and leave, which leaves the three good guys there.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it's a face turn for one Adam Hangman Page. I definitely feel is the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
100%. I mean, he got a face pop, but I think that's a moot point, really. I think
I love this hair.
There's layers to this that's fantastic, man. It's like a blooming onion out there, right? So Orange Cassidy's in there as like the little seasoned sauce next to the onion, but between Jay White and Hanger, you know, the feud they have amongst each other, and then both of them having their eyes on Moxley. And I love the little nuance of Christian coming out and standing out on the edge of the ramp while this was going on. Just made it even better.
I love that little touch of Christian at the very end.
I mean, they're for having a muddy championship picture, they're doing it well. They're doing it well.
For some odd reason, I have the sneaking suspicion we are going to have a new champion in 2025 to start 2025.
You kept saying World's End is when you expect it to happen.
I am all over it more than ever now. Like the way they've been teasing it and everything, I feel like I really feel like either I don't think it's gonna be Darby now because he's a part of the Continental. Darby's not the one, right? So and I'm kind of glad.
You think they might
eventually be the one?
You think they might have a 3-way between these guys to determine who's going to do it, or do a 4-way at World's End? Maybe that's a good. I mean,
I don't know, but you know, the Lonely Island have always said it's not gay if it's in a 3-way. So I'm cool with that. Go listen to some Lonely Island, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that song's got Lady Gaga on it too. But anyway,
step one.
As I digress, I could see them doing Orange Hanger against Mox. I could see that, and then, or you know, I don't know, or you could have Orange Mox 2, or you could do a 4-way. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but there's gonna be a way to get Christian to come in, cash in, and get that briefcase, if you will.
You know,
at World's End.
And I think if you do that, I want to say Orange is the person you want to have the title belt on.
I think it would be better storytelling if it's Hanger who wins.
As soon as you started talking, I was like, wait, he's gonna say Hanger, and that makes more sense because yes, of course, because
of the dynamic between Hanger and Christian, like that just makes so much sense.
And the kind of like short-sighted rage that fuels Hangman, right?
Yes.
How much better would it be to add more of that fuel of you were the champion for 2 more minutes?
Yeah. And the thing is too, like I know if Austin was here, he'd be both telling us that we're complete idiots and they're gonna keep that belt on Mox for a lot longer, which makes even more sense. I agree it makes more sense. But I'm living in fantasy booking island, damn it, and I want it to happen at World's End. So
Heather makes a good point too, because it also keeps Jay in the title picture, and I think that's really the key to all this as well, Heather. You know that you basically put that nail there, so we're gonna hit it around the head. Is that you don't give this belt to Jay yet? Don't give it to him for the next couple months, because when you give the belt to Jay, like he is just now, and there's those who love Jay, right? Present company is included in this party. Okay. All right. Those of you in chat, you're included too. We know Heather's included. But the rest of you in chat, you're included as well. Okay. I think the rest of the American audience is finally realizing who Jay White actually is, right? They knew him as a wrestler. He was a guy from Japan. He was a big dude over there or something or another. It wasn't quite like, no, you don't realize he ran fucking New Japan, man. When he was in like his Bullet Club over there, he was way up here. I think they're now starting to realize that, right? It's starting to become made. So when you ascend him to that top spot, you're close, but I don't want to see him do it anytime soon because I don't think they're there yet with the crowd to get behind it fully.
Yeah, I agree. Jay will have a title run at some point. Will it be 2025?
I think so.
Well, let me ask you this. What prints more money? Him or Ospreay? You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about it financially.
Touche.
You know, I love Jay White. The international fan base loves Jay White. He does sell some merch, but he's not their number one merch person. That's Danhausen. But you know,
we're not going to that rabbit hole, unfortunately.
Talk about wasted talent there. But Will Ospreay makes a lot of sense, but he's not around here right now, which is great. You've kept him away. So do you make Jay like a transitional, or do you leave that up to Christian? Because if you want Jay to have any type of title run, he has to either win it off of Hanger or not Hanger. He needs to win it off of Christian or whatever right now, like when this all happens. Or you have him win it off of Ospreay because Ospreay's gonna have a killer title run in 2025.
Well,
there's no doubt in my mind he's gonna have a big one.
Him and Ospreay have a history in Japan that's easily translatable to the title picture here. Now, if you do that when Ospreay gets the belt, or you want to have Jay be the one who is the vessel for Ospreay to get the belt from, either way I think will work. You know, I think that the two of them are going to go hand in hand in the title picture when it's ready. Now, to your point, they've done an excellent job without Ospreay even breathing a word other than a passing shot here and there about how he wants to have that title, but keeping him completely out of this title picture, right?
Yeah.
And they can continue to do that for a while more. I mean, this, the Don Callis family feud has so many legs with this Kyle Fletcher angle that there's potential for that. But I don't know. I don't feel like Jay White's far away from being on the level where he would need to be in that mix. But to your point, there's other players involved. You talked about Takeshita for a long time. You want to see him in there. Once Okada drops the Continental belt, he's going to turn his eyes one place only, right?
And you have Kenny coming right back here too.
And as I was getting to, and you have Kenny Omega still coming. Plus, Mox is still hanging around, although he doesn't need a belt for what he's doing. So that's a moot point, right? You got a lot of pieces involved in this, and I'm sure at one point in time you want to have Bobby Lashley, at least sniffing around that belt a little bit. So I don't know.
There's a lot of Chiefs going around there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's
and I don't want to be Chris Collinsworth to Mahomes when I talk about Ospreay, but I will. Like, he's the guy. He's the one. He is. If you are worried about AEW, like to validate anything that Bischoff said earlier, and we all went off on. If I'm going to validate any of that, then I put the belt on my biggest star and ride that rocket ship to push us into a new era. And if I'm going to do that, that is easily Will Ospreay.
Yeah. I mean, he's already the poster man you need, but yeah, you want to make him your Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Steve Austin.
He's already got the entrance music for it. People go nuts, and we are going to go nuts live.
Oh my God. Do you have that card in front of you, Jamie? We just got to talk for a quick, we'll wrap up here before we get to fantasy football. Let's talk about what's going on. Again, we are going to be at the show next Wednesday, and Jamie teased this before, but it wasn't just a joke. We are going to do our damnedest to try and stream just after Dynamite concludes from the suite. We're going to basically be there while they're taping Rampage. We're going to be trying to stream live from the suite. So it may be scuffed. It may be a shit show. It'd definitely be worth watching if it is. And it may not even work. Who knows? But if there is not a show next week, that's why, because we are going to try and stream from the arena as soon as it's done. So give us your best, a sacrifice to the Wi-Fi gods out there so that we can do this. And and if we're not there, we'll talk more in 2 weeks about it. But yes. So what do we got? So we have Ospreay.
So we have Will Ospreay versus Claudio Castagnoli.
Which that alone, change of pants needed. Cool. Great.
Yeah. Ricochet versus Brody King.
Because why the fuck not? Wait. They already fought each other.
Not for the Continental.
Yeah, they did last week.
No, this is
Ricochet versus Brody King. Are you sure of that? For Winter is Coming?
That's what they said.
Because that was 100% a match last week on Dynamite. Ricochet lost. Clean.
No, Brody faced Darby last week.
Ricochet lost to somebody.
Yeah, so he's going against Brody this week.
Okay, well he lost to somebody. Ricochet did.
Yeah,
I could have swore it was Brody.
He lost to was it Claudio?
It was Claudio. You're right. Yes. Okay, there we go. All right. Hey.
I'm like, wait, no, this match has not happened.
We're back on track. Yeah, he lost to Claudio. Yes. Okay, so
Mariah May versus Mina Shirakawa, which I'm really excited about.
For the AEW Women's World Championship.
Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly.
Yay.
I mean,
that should be a good match.
It's going to be a good match.
It's going to be a good match. It's just the story we're not enthralled with.
Pac and John Moxley versus Jay White and Orange Cassidy.
Yes, please. Yes.
And then for the St. Louis one, they have Jamie Hayter versus the winner of Willow Nightingale and Serena Deeb. So that's where I think that's where Julia Hart shows up.
Yeah, because that's going to be basically the
international
the winner to determine who's going to go to the Women's World Cup thing that they're doing. I heard that there's going to be like a 4-way and there's going to be something else going on, but they never said what New Japan was going to do for their women. Did you ever hear?
No, I have not heard anything.
Which makes it, Stardom, which makes it very interesting. I wonder what that wrinkle will be. Anyway, that's for Wrestle Dynasty.
Yeah, and that is what is announced. So we have 5 matches announced.
But the one is
officially for that show. One's for St. Louis.
Well, that one's for St. Louis.
But are Serena and Willow going at it at Collision this Saturday, or are they going at it at Rampage?
I'm pretty sure it's either Rampage or Collision, but it's this weekend.
Okay. Because we get Rampage too while we're there. We're gonna actually be one of the last Rampages. Fun fact.
How about that?
And we'll go live during that and talk about Dynamite with everybody.
Again, we're going to try to go live. I just don't want to get everybody's hopes up because we are.
Dude, we're doing it. I don't care how bad and glitchy it is. We're doing it. I got a T-Mobile phone and T-Mobile Arena. We should have Wi-Fi. We should be good to go.
For someone who doesn't have T-Mobile, used to have them, you know that when I say this, it's very much the truth. That doesn't mean shit.
I've had no problems with my T-Mobile.
See, when I got T-Mobile, I couldn't get, I had to go on my front porch to get a signal.
Oh, no. I have no.
If I go into my house, literally on the other side of the wall, nothing. And there's a giant fuck-ass window right there. But no, I had to go on my front porch anyway. Verizon I have no problem with. And that's why I don't mind paying extra. But anyway, we will be hopefully live from the T-Mobile Center. But yeah, we'll be doing it immediately after, maybe not immediately, maybe 5-10 minutes, right? Go to the bathroom, stretch our legs. But right after Dynamite next week. So it might be a little bit earlier than we normally do. And probably going to go for about an hour-ish, give or take. We'll see. You'll probably see a lot of guest appearances on the show. It's going to be an interesting thing. So come join us next week. Do you want to talk about fantasy football? We could just move on.
I'm fine with it. Are you fine with it?
I was fine with fantasy football. Okay, so since we don't have Austin, I don't want to use that screen because the camera's going to be all messed up. You know what? I don't care. You guys just join us. All right, you're going to get part me, part Jamie. It looks like a royal mess, but that is actually encompassing about what my season is so far for fantasy football. Hey, here's a sneak peek at my team, whatever the hell this is, okay? Let's not deal with that. Let's go over to our standings here. So, some interesting developments this past week. For one, Austin is just running away with his top spot. He actually already has it locked in, as a matter of fact.
He's the number one.
He is fixed in, and boy, am I glad he's not here to rub our faces in it. Now, I think that technically he's not locked in. Megan could take it from him because they both are 9-4, but
yeah, I have to beat him this weekend in order to give Megan the one.
Right, and Megan has to win. I don't know who Megan's playing this week, so let's look at that. So this week Megan's playing Big Rob.
Yeah.
So this past week, though, was an interesting one. So he just went off. He just is scoring points in nobody's business. You're not far behind him, my man. Megan's got herself a hell of a team. Who would have thought the Bears firing their coach would do things for Heidi? But my God, look at all her big point get. Look, like her Bears are putting up points left and right here. I was looking at my game, and it came down. Everything was looking real good projection-wise. The afternoon game hits. Mike Evans comes out of nowhere and drops like 30 points. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll see how we go. Well, it came to the point where I was 4.8 points ahead of him going into the Monday night game, and all Carlos had playing was Nick Chubb. And I'm like, boy, wouldn't it be amazing if Nick Chubb does absolutely nothing? And for 3/4 of that game, I thought I was going to win this thing because the Browns forgot that Nick Chubb was on their sideline. And then in the fourth quarter, they remembered they had Nick Chubb on their sideline, and it was over from there. So, well, where that leaves us to projected playoff bracket with one leak. Wow. Oh my God. What are you doing? There you go. With one week left in the season, as I said, so 1 and 2 are locked up. It just depends on if Austin's going to be one or if Megan's going to be one. Everything else in the middle is actually really, really, really muddy. Apologies out there to our good friend Chase. Chase, you're locked into the last seed. That is you definitely are locked into the last seed. But we got a lot of 6 and 7 teams, and we got a lot of 7 and 6 teams. So we're gonna have to see what goes on this week as it relates to seeding. Right now, if the league were to end, I do not get a bye. I'd have to play Chase, and then you'd be looking at. If it's season in today, Jamie, you'd be playing those killer Bears in the second round.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, they can't keep holding it on every week, right? They could just fire their coach, you would think, but
you never know.
You never know, man. You never know. With that being said, fantasy football has been a good time this year. I'm not going to lie. I got burned out on fantasy football a few years back, and I was never as into it as you were, or like Austin is, you know? Because I found myself watching football for players, not for fun, right? I was only concerned with what the stats were. I didn't, and I'm like, wait, I want to enjoy watching football, right? When I first started fantasy, that's the way it was, right? Watch my Steelers, then I watch other games, hope for good stuff for my players. But it was nice to get back to that a little bit more instead of just being solely concerned with stats above everything else. So,
see, I love fantasy football because it makes me pay attention to everything else, and it's like I enjoy it because it makes me pay attention to the rest of the NFL other than just my
other than your team. Okay.
Yes,
I got you there.
And I love my Chiefs.
Now, you were talking about doing some prop stuff for the playoffs. Is that still the plan?
I think that would be fun. I really do.
Well, we have a little over a week to get that in place and figure that out. So
Yeah, we can definitely figure that one out.
I'm all for it. That gives me a shot, I think. And here's the thing: on paper, my team's not bad. It's just I don't know. Whatever. I'm not the best at fantasy football. I'll admit it. I don't care. I'm having a good time with it. I do think it'd be hilarious if out of nowhere I go on a heater and I win this whole thing, though. But hey, that could happen.
That would be great, but you'd have to get a lot of help, dude. And you got you got 3 buzzsaw teams that you fin through. And honestly, like I was saying, Carlos's team's pretty tough too.
It is, but you look at my record week to week. I don't think I've been blown out, but maybe once. Like, it's always been real close games, right? 10 points or less for the majority of them. I mean, I beat you opening week by, 4 points? And then when we played again, you beat me by 7 points? Something like that? You know? I think Megan beat me by a lot. I think that was the one blowout I had. But pretty much most of my season has been really close. This past week, Carlos beat me by 5 points or 6 points, you know?
I beat you by 30.
Okay, so you were the one who blew me out then, the second time.
And then Megan beat you by 30.
Okay. So I said 1 or 2. I had a couple blowouts.
Yeah, my only blowout loss of the season, Austin.
Well, you can make amends for it this week, Jamie. That's the plan, right?
Yeah,
the man's not here to defend himself.
And then fun fact, I did end up losing to Rob the week before by 1 point.
Yes, that was so close we thought it might be a tie game.
Yeah. Before that, I was like ripping people's heads off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my worst loss was against Trent, against Tommy Too Good. I lost 168 to 107. I lost by 60 points. I got absolutely wrecked. But I avenged that and won by 20 this time.
You started the season bad. Like, your team was not scoring anything.
Yeah, I was 0-5. Actually, I scored a lot twice.
You did decently against me. Yeah. Yeah, and eventually you turn around. Well, we got one more week of fantasy football. Then we're going to talk playoffs. We probably won't do more than a little banter on fantasy next week just because we're going to be at the stadium. We're not going to have all the graphics and all the fancy stuff there. I have no idea how well it works. I hope it's super scuffed. It's going to be fantastic. So come join us next week as we go live on site with our post-Dynamite recap. Austin will be there. Like I said, we will have undoubtedly run-in appearances from a great many others as well. I'm not going to spoil who they could be. You just got to tune in. So if this is your first time here, again, thank you for sticking with us to the end. We'd love to see you back. We do this every Wednesday at approximately 9:30 Central Standard Time. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like, give us a big thumbs up. We do appreciate you guys. You can always join in on the chat while it's live, hit a comment, or you can hit us up on Twitter or Blue Sky at Total Spotfest. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 4 words for you. Fuck you, Eric Bischoff.
See you guys next week.